Hi everyone and welcome again to the channel. My name is Joy. First, I'd like to say thank you so much for everyone who watched the first episode of Being Mrs. Q. This is going to be the second episode we are doing. So today we are going to talk about before you say I do. And what I'm going to tell you guys is how Mr. Q proposed and how we set the date for our wedding, how we did our budget, and just everything pertaining to what our big day was like. How did he propose? Well, Mr. Q admits that I am the hardest person to surprise, maybe because I do this a lot for people, like surprise people and stuff. So I sort of have always thought everything out beforehand. So I kind of got him, I think, more than once. But the funniest is over Christmas, and I was in the shower getting ready and he was hurrying me like, babe, we have to go. And so I asked him, why are you in a hurry, like someone who wants to propose in front of my mother during Christmas? And he just went like, really, Joy? So on the night he proposed, we had come from celebrating his mother's birthday, and they never used to do stuff like this in their family. Like a birthday would just go by and guys would probably text or something. So I wanted to do something special for his mom. So I baked a cake and made all his brothers buy her gifts, and off we went to see her. And so we ended up staying there for quite a while, and by the time we were getting home, it was say around 11. And of course by then my phone had died, and being the phone holic that I am, my first instinct was, of course, after putting food for him, was to charge my phone. And so I'm searching frantically in my bag for my phone, and when I pick it up, I turn and he's on his knees, and the first thing I ask him is, babe, are we praying? Okay, what's wrong? Are you okay? So I also get on my knees because I'm like, oh, something must be happening here. But I didn't think he was going to propose. And so after trying to find out if he's hurt, like, why are you on the floor and all of that, he says, okay, can you just keep quiet and listen? I'm like, okay. And then he starts, oh babe, the whole, why I love you speech was made, and I started crying. And then he asked me, Joy Mutoka, will you be my wife? And I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah. I'm like, for real? And so after saying for real for a while, he asked me again, and so I said, yes, I'll marry you. And it was the most beautiful thing. I kept thinking, how did I miss this? But I think had he done it any other way, I'd have been like, yeah, knew that. So this was the best way for him to propose. And so the first person I told was my friend Rhoda. I think she was working night shift, so I just texted her and said, hey, I'm engaged. And then of course I texted my sister, and my sister told my mom, and they woke up because they had gone to bed, and I hear they celebrated and they prayed. So clearly this had been a long time coming. So my advice to the guys is, be as unpredictable as it comes. Be as unpredictable. Some of us girls have planned our engagement, our wedding, our honeymoon from the time we're like 16 or even younger. So be as unpredictable as possible. However, put your girl in mind. Let it be all about her. So how did we set the date? Well, we set the date the same day we got engaged. We actually, after getting over the emotions and everything, we just sat down and said, if we are getting engaged, then we want to have a wedding. We don't want to be like Lord of the Rings. You walk around with someone's ring for over 5 years and nothing is forthcoming. I think it's like when you go for an interview and you're given a joining date, then you start at your joining date, right? And so for us, we set our date right there and then. We wanted to do it in June at first because it's my birthday, but when we started counting and thinking we were going to pay for everything ourselves, we wanted to be a little more realistic. One thing is we wanted to have an even number. Don't ask me. We just wanted to have an even number for our wedding date, and we also wanted I wanted to do premarital counseling at that time, and I knew it would take a period of time. So I had to put that in mind as well. And so we ended up choosing August 16th for our wedding day. Yeah, most of the planning had already been done by yours truly. Thank you, Pinterest. And also, thank you, Roger. We had figured out, what colors we would like. We had figured out, almost everything. Yeah, so we're just waiting for the ring, baby. So the easiest way to go about planning is to work backwards. Think about the total number of guests you would like to have, and then think about the money that you have. Then think about, if you were to divide your total budget divided by your number of guests, where would you eat for the same amount of money? It's good to put things into perspective, but it's important that you know what you can afford. So if your price per person comes to 3,000, then you might as well go to Safari Park. I mean, they charge a plate for 2,500 for some packages. So it's important that you have everything in perspective. Find out what is important to you. What can't you negotiate? Is it your rings? Is it your dress? Is it your venue? Is it your photographer? As long as you've put everything into perspective, then you can start planning. I suggest that you work with what you have, but leave room for a miracle. Let God come in and wow you. Let him be the surprise. For us, we had people who we'd never thought of who came through for us, and we thank God for that, because he was in it. So as much as you're planning, please go to God first, tell him your plans, and then invite him in your planning, and then see how everything is going to plan out. Because most of the time we want to do things and then remember, oh, I need to tell God about this, then go back to him. Bridal party, veto powers rule. I say this because sometimes you want your girls and you want them to be free, and you want them to do what they want and wear what they like, and they take 2 weeks before they respond with their designs. So just take the lead. I mean, if you're type A, take the lead. Like, show them what you would like, find out what their concerns are, find out from your tailor whether they can manage their concerns, and then go through with it. Don't waste time, because as long as your bridal party is not in tow, everything else is going to drag. Yeah. Don't forget to ask who would like to be in your bridal party. Don't just have a list in your head where you've already decided who's going to be a bridesmaid and who's going to be a maid of honor. Be sure to ask, because it takes money most of the time, or rather all the time. It costs money to be in a lineup, and it's important to respect people's financial responsibilities before getting them to that. So be kind enough to ask. You could make it a big deal. For me, I just had a list and I just decided I have 2 sisters, so that's done. And then I had promised my friend Esther all the way from high school that she's going to be in my lineup, so that was done. Like, everything just fell into place. But be sure to ask. Okay, the other thing to bear in mind is your dress. When it comes to your dress, follow your heart. There's so many people who will tell you, oh, don't wear this because you're this, and don't wear this because you're this, and don't wear this color because of this and that. But I always say, follow your heart. At the end of the day, you're the one who is going to walk down that aisle. And as long as you're not feeling comfortable, as long as you're not feeling confident, well, it beats the purpose of having this big event, really. So make sure you follow your heart. If you fall in love with a dress and it is over and above your budget, you know what I'm going to say next. You have to ask God to come through for you. I mean, he must have had a plan for your big day. He knows the beginning from the end and still orchestrates the future. So nothing is impossible. My mentor, Wavinya, told me, if money was not an issue, what would you want for your wedding? Would you want to wear one dress? Of course, I said, no. I'd like to wear 2 dresses, and everything fell into place to see that my dream came true. And sorry, I digress, but our tagline for our wedding was dreams do come true. Our tagline for our wedding was dreams do come true. And this is because when we started out with Quint, we just started out with nothing but love for each other. We just knew we wanted to be together. We didn't want to elope. I wasn't ready to go to the AGs and do this thing secretly. With all due respect, no. I wanted to have a big day. I wanted to have the day that my mom didn't have. You know, I also wanted to set the pace for my siblings, because being a firstborn, a lot of things tend to fall into place the same way for those behind you, because you sort of set the pace. So there was a lot riding on this for me. But then I had to remind myself that even after falling in love with a dress, I'm still going to see another dress and another dress and another dress. And for the 52 Saturdays that are in a year, there's going to be a girl with a different dress in a different country. So I had to really, really narrow down. Now for us, for the dress, we actually shopped together. We went to China together, and I could fit in everything they had, because I'm so small and their sample sizes are so small. So I could fit in everything. And it was the joy of the ladies in the shops. They had someone who they could see the dress on, to just see their designs come to life. And so day one, I was just playing model, really. I was just running shop to shop and trying on a dress, and another shop and trying on a dress, and I didn't find anything you can imagine. And in China, the wedding street is like the entire of Kenyatta Avenue, and you can imagine walking through all shops, the front shops and also the shops at the back, and not finding anything. I just cried when I went back to the room. And when I spoke to Avinya that night, she asked me the question again: if money was not the issue, what dress would you wear? And so the next day, husband to be in tow, we went back to the Bridal street, and the first shop we went to, I tried a ball gown, and I told him, I feel like a bride in this. And so using the ideas that I had gathered from different designers that I had seen, I finally settled on my wedding gown. So please remember, your dress, it's your dress. It's the one thing that you get to like have to commemorate this day, to feel beautiful, to feel like it is your time to be a bride. So don't take it lightly, and also don't let people bulldoze you into picking what they want. Yeah, I'm petite, and I still wore a ball gown and a mommy dress, and every picture on Pinterest showed me that for a petite girl I should wear a sheath dress, but there was no way I was wearing a sheath dress. No way. I'd like to talk about budget. Be realistic, but leave room for God. I mean, you have to know where you're coming from and where you're going. You have to remember that there'll still be rent. That's if you don't already own a house. There'll still be rent. There'll still be food. If you have kids like we have in money, there's still school fees. There's still other responsibilities for our other family members. I mean, you have to bear all that in mind. My mom helped us. My mom told us to ensure that we had food and rent for the next 3 months after we came from our honeymoon. So we started shopping at wholesale shops, and it is amazing what kind of bargains you get from these shops. Like, you're able to buy rice 25 kgs for about 2,000 shillings. You're able to buy sugar. You're able to buy every single thing. We would get a roll of 45 tissues for about 700 shillings. It doesn't get any better than that. So even as we were still putting aside money for the wedding, we were also trying to see how can we cut on our budget. It's what are the important things for you when it comes to your wedding? Like I had said earlier, if it's your rings, put aside enough money for your rings. If it is food for your guests, if it is your honeymoon. But then I'd also like to say that only your rings, your honeymoon, other things you get to do for you. Really, like to enjoy and those things. So put them on top of the list, and then make sure that every single aspect of your budget is catered for. For example, the you know, when it comes to food, really, there's food for the guys, the the technical team, what do I call them? The photographers, the videographers, the drivers, all of those come into play. Like budget for, if it's clothing, is it clothing just for you or your parents? Are you catering for your aunties, for your husband's aunties when it comes to their outfits? Have every single thing documented so that when money comes in, then you know where it's going. And do not feel embarrassed in asking for help. I feel better asking someone to help me towards my wedding than cornering them in a committee and telling them that all committee members have to remove 10,000 shillings or remove 50,000 shillings, or I feel that it is easier and better when you ask for help. For example, I didn't know what I was going to do with my hair, and so I reached out to a friend of mine and asked her, what will I do with my hair for the wedding? And she suggested, you know what, I think you should try microwave your hair. And of course I went, oh, because I thought, how much does that cost? But this beautiful lady went ahead to bring me the hair, show me where to do the hair. Like, she had catered for the most part of it and still gave me money to go do my hair. So Lord knows I wouldn't have had such a beautiful day. We wouldn't have had such a beautiful day without people who came through for us. So be mindful to ask, and ask genuinely and honestly. And when you receive this money, put it into the right cause. Because more often than not, when you use people's money badly, money that they have worked for, comes around. The other thing I'd like to highlight is parents. Now, both Quint and I lost our dads. And so we only had to deal with our mom. The Bible says, honor your father and mother in the Lord, for this is right. And it also says that this is the only commandment that comes with a promise. And the promise is that you may have a long life. So listen to them. They have the craziest ideas. The day after I got engaged, my mom and my auntie already had a lineup, already had who was going to sing at the wedding. She already knew women from her chama were going to cook so that us guys don't have to incur a huge budget. They usually want the best for us. So listen to them, honor them, but do not become puppets. Explain to them why you would like some things done, and take their feelings into consideration as well. I mean, I remember we wanted to leave to start our day, all of us at Manzoni, like spend the night at Manzoni Lodge. But my mom went like, there is no way I'm giving out my daughter from a hotel. And we had to honor that. For her, it was going to be a big deal for guys to see decorated cars leaving the house and stuff. That was her thing. She just wanted me to come from her house. And we had to honor that. And so be mindful of their feelings as well. But for the ladies, please listen to your moms when it comes to what they'd like to wear. I mean, I went all out and got my mom 2 outfits and everything and a hat, and she still went to her tailor and had her dress made. So please listen to them and let them do what they're comfortable with. Now, I'm almost coming to the end of Being Mrs. Q episode 2, but I'd like to remind you that if you're planning a wedding or if you're planning to get engaged, please remember that the wedding is the event, and you're safer preparing for your marriage than for an event, because an event would happen and come to an end. And the same people who come to your wedding and dance their heads off and eat and make merry will be at another wedding the next week, already comparing what they saw at your wedding that is not at this wedding, or they've even forgotten. But imagine this, you walk down the aisle to the love of your life and commit to have a lifetime together through sickness and health, poverty and wealth. And then if you're doing all this just to have a good old day, dance in a big old dress, then you're not ready for this. So make sure that your priorities are right. Even as you're planning your big day, make sure that all this are sideshows, but spending the rest of your life with your partner is the main event. The reason of you two coming together should be no more than your partnership being for the greater good of God's kingdom. It may sound complex, it may sound spiritual, but that's why God brings us together. So as you're planning your big day, ask yourself, what is more important? Is it the day or is it your marriage? So once again, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'd like to request that if you can subscribe to the channel, if you can share it with your friends and your loved ones, it would mean a great deal to me. Also leave a comment if you have any questions or any particular area that you'd like to hear my thoughts on, then feel free to ask in the comment section. Until next time, bye bye.